How has advertising influenced your life?
I think it's promoted and influenced like what products I buy and how I see the general market and whatnot.
Advertising is one of those things where it influences a lot of people's lives. It changes their minds into buying products. It shows them different products that are out there. Um, if you have a good advertisement and a horrible product, you're going to buy that product even though the product is not very good.
Like I told Jess, like those braid things. Remember those things that you'd put your hair in and it was supposed to braid them?
Oh yeah,
But yeah, it only tangled your hair.
Right, or only like the flat iron brush where it's supposed to
Yeah.
straighten your hair and
It
doesn't.
doesn't really do anything,
Right.
especially if you have hair like mine on.
Yeah.
Advertising has influenced my life through my job. A big part of my job is advertising, is marketing different products to people in the best way that we know how to get them to purchase or make a better decision for themselves.
Do you ever feel manipulated into buying something?
Oh, definitely. Especially, like, this is a really weird example with like tampons and stuff like that. Like, I was talking to a friend about this. Like, they're so expensive, and we need, like, females need them. So it's just like you have to buy them. I mean, like, there's only literally like 2 brands out there, so they can make whatever price they
I feel
want.
the same way. I've thought about that before, and I'm like, this is something Mother Nature forces us to be with, and yet we're forced to actually spend money on something for it.
They're expensive. It can get up to like $20 per box, and like we need that stuff. So definitely,
It's really expensive.
Yeah.
I think everybody does at one time or another. You know, advertising, like I said, it can change the way you feel about a product.
Mm-hmm.
It can make you like it or dislike it. If you like the colors or if you like the slogan or, you know, and if you hear it enough repetitions, then you're most likely going to buy it.
All the time. I mean, you know, think of McDonald's, for example. You go to McDonald's. McDonald's has, you know, the McPick 2. Okay?
So does Panera.
So does Panera. The McPick 2 at McDonald's is, you know, 2 4-piece nuggets. I actually just heard this a couple days ago. The kid at the register said the girl wanted a 6-piece nugget. He said, oh, how about 2 4-piece nuggets? It's going to be cheaper and you get 2 more nuggets. The girl got the 2 4-piece nuggets instead. It's just one of those things. It's a mind trick thing that people think to themselves, I'm getting a better deal, and now I'm going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time.
In what ways has advertising affected your life and what you may spend your money on?
I think it's shown like a different like clothing brands.
Mm-hmm.
Like they promote like a certain way of life for a certain clothing brand look. I mean, like I'm not a very materialistic person, but my sister is. So like she wants to buy like all like the nice stuff. She wants this, and I'm like, hey, like I'll go with like the occasional like this is like Nike, like I got it for Christmas. So like I'm very like conscious of how I spend my money regarding certain brands, and like I definitely promoting and like picturizing like what is the ideal look for like this certain season or something like that.
Do you think that like the professional athletes at Nike and Adidas and all of them like influence you in a way to go for it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially with like soccer people, they'll like be like, oh, she has that. Like I definitely need that.
Like those cleats look like they work really well and they fit nice and they're pretty. I need a pair of those.
Exactly.
Pretty much what I said with the other 2 things.
I mean, advertising can do so many things. You have to look at Apple. Apple is a leader in advertising and marketing, and everything they do is so simple. And they market their phone as being so simple, and that appeals to people. And for me, I'd rather spend my money on something simple that's easy to understand and easy to work than on a Android product that everyone's phone is different. And when you get their phone, even to take a photo, you're like a child. You have no idea how to take their photo. And Apple just does such a good job of showing you this is why you need this and this is why you will continue to buy this product throughout the course of your life. I mean, I've had an iPhone since 16, 9 years. I don't ever intend to get rid of it. So, I mean, they got a lifelong customer along with every single other person who probably owns an iPhone. Yeah.
Cool. Have you ever felt like what you see in advertisements on TV affects the way you think, feel, or act about anything?
Yeah. I mean, like, subliminally, like, not, like, right away I'll be like, oh my gosh, I need that. But, like, if I keep, like, advertising always is on the TV and, like, certain channels always run a certain, like, commercials. So if I keep seeing them over and over again, it, like, gets pounded into your head in a way.
Like, I know for me, there's things that, like, before it was even 18, they'd be, like, showing on, like, Disney or Nickelodeon.
Right,
or anything. Like, there's braid twister things
I remember
whatever.
that.
And it'd be like, I have to get it. And then you get it, and it doesn't work.
It really doesn't work. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, I used to be in advertising sales, so I would hope that it would change the way that people would think and view the products and purchase the product.
Most likely. When you look at stuff on TV, you see beer commercials, you see hot girls, you know, you think to yourself, oh, if I drink beer, there'll be hot girls. Do I think that? No, that's not real. But there are people out there who believe that. Axe makes fun of that in their ads. They show themselves putting their product on and hot girls coming to them, when in reality, that's not how these products work. But it's a way for them to sell and market their product. Is it ethical? Probably not. But, you know, if you can convince people, it's what advertising's for.
Have you ever felt like what you watch on TV or hear about affects the way you think, feel, or act about anything?
Really, not as much. I mean, like, I listen to the radio in the morning, like, if I'm driving, but, like, not really take anything they say into consideration.
So what about, like, I know the presidential debate is coming up. I know that's, like, a good example of it.
Yeah.
It's, like, you got people on Clinton's side, people on
Right.
Trump's, and people that don't care. So it's, like, do those on the opposing side of you, like, whatever they have to say, influence your opinion or make you second-guess your opinion in any way?
Not second-guess it. Kind of just, like, reassure my opinion. I mean, like, I'm for nobody.
Yeah.
But whenever I hear about Trump stuff, it just reiterates, like, that, like, I don't want to be there.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
It doesn't just have to be about a project.
Oh,
like, it could be like your aspect on life or something.
Well, you just got to remember when you watch a lot of that stuff that it's not all real, you know, and you just have to keep that in the back of your mind. But I'm sure there's a lot of people where, it most likely does influence.
Again, most likely. It all just depends. It depends on how effective what you're hearing is or what you're seeing is. If you see something and you know right off the bat, oh, that's not real. It's not going to do anything for me. But, you know, there's some products. The best category would probably be the as seen on TV. You see all this stuff and you really think, how can that affect me? And some stuff just isn't necessary. And then some products from as seen on TV are, wow, I could really use that in everyday life. And I think to each their own. It's how you view advertising and what you take away from it. If you view it as, you know, reality and this is what people do to get people to buy their product, I think you have a little bit more of an understanding that, okay, they are just trying to do something for me to buy it, where you can make an informed decision instead of just kind of going with the flow of, oh yeah, I got to buy that because they told me to. So.
Have you ever thought about what life would be like if there were no advertisement? What do you think life would be like?
I haven't really thought much about that, but I think if there's no advertisement, there'd be like less judgment among the like people of society. Just because like I know it's a big debate between schools with like uniforms and stuff like that. So if you have like a label or something, it makes you this kind of person or that kind of person. So I guess if there is no advertisement, that could be taken away a little bit. But I know there would be some form or another to bring it back.
So what about like if there's a surprise factor, like go in the store, didn't know
Mm-hmm.
any of the stuff in the store, and you go and you see it. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I think people would have a lot more money in the bank because they wouldn't be like, oh, I want that. Or like a little kid who sees that video game that is a must-have, or that doll that's a must-have, and you go to the store and, you're trying to search for that doll, and you'll pay whatever price that doll is worth or not worth, just so your child could have it.
So do you think that if without advertising that, like, if you went into a store, I know advertising is where, like, stores get a lot of their money from because it's bringing people in to buy stuff, but if, like, there were no advertising, do you think that, like, people would ever, like, go to a store, or if they did, would they be surprised by what's in the store?
I think they'd be most likely surprised of what's in the store, and their choices will most likely be different than what it was if they didn't see that ad.
That's a good question. I'd probably say if there were no advertisements, there would still be advertisements.
In what way?
In the way that people sell anything. At my work, we teach the employees to upsell different retail products or, snacks or something. Whether or not we advertise those products, we could have bare shelves, but the employee could always say, hey, did you ever want to try this? This is the benefits. And I think when people do that, it shows you that you might not have to advertise anything, but by using somebody to just talk about it, is it still advertising? Kind of, but it's more along the lines of just discussing, having a conversation about something and being able to use that.
So what about, like, if you had to advertise, draw people into your store? Like, how would you get people then if there were no advertising that don't know anything about, like, your store?
I think the biggest thing is word of mouth. I think the word of mouth at a former company I used to work for, they did no advertising. None whatsoever. Yet their word of mouth was what they relied upon on their business, and they've grown to over 1,500 locations around the world and use that to now not do any advertising, but they look for, the press releases and that kind of stuff. But they built their brand on not advertising. And I think if somebody can do that successfully, it speaks to the product where you don't have to advertise.
Okay. Have you ever felt like what you buy affects your life?
Yeah, like brand-wise or anything. I think so. I mean, when buying a car my senior year, like, I just needed something to take me from point A to point B, but like, I needed it to be reliable, and, like, God forbid it broke down. Like, my sister's going through the process right now, and, like, her car is, like, really a hand-me-down. So, like, I guess so, in a way like that, with big impacts, with little things, not really, no.
Well, things definitely can affect your life of what you buy. I mean, especially if it betters the way you live, and, a certain product might make something a lot easier for you. So, yeah, like, buying items that you might see on advertising could definitely benefit you.
Especially if it's for, like, your job or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Like I said, I think if you buy an iPhone, you're not gonna go and buy anything Android related, and the same vice versa. So what you buy, affects how you do everything in your daily life. You could buy a huge couch with, USB connections and power recliners.
Way to use our couch.
and utilize that as a way of your daily life. It affects your daily life. You don't have to get up to go plug your phone in. You get to put your feet up. But if you bought just a steel chair, you wouldn't be as comfortable. You'd have to get up to go plug your phone in. You'd have to get something to rest your feet if you wanted to rest your feet. So it affects everything that you do in what happens. Yeah.
In what ways does what we watch influence how we behave around different cultures or as one culture?
So obviously, like TVs will put like certain ways for certain cultures, and they could be completely wrong or like spot on. But in my experience, it's with like stuff like we were doing research, and it was like how we view like Al Qaeda and like people in the Middle East and Islam and stuff like that, and like those are just like the radical side. So, but like people don't take that into perspective, so they'll think that's like everybody, and I'm fortunate enough not to realize that. So, I mean, I think it does impact us a lot on like how we view everybody.
Just as a side fact,
Yeah.
one of my friends, she's a teacher.
Yeah.
I've got a few teacher friends or whatever, and she was saying that a substitute teacher was joking around in a classroom saying, "Oh, I must be allergic to you kids." And the new student said, "Oh, you can't be allergic to me." So the teacher asked why. And she's like, "Because we're the same color.
Oh my goodness.
If we were the different colors, we'd be allergic to each other." And she's from North Carolina.
Wow.
And she's an elementary school student.
Wow.
So it's like you can definitely see that effect.
Yeah.
And everything.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
horrible.
I thought the same thing.
Oh my gosh, these children learning at such a young age. Oh my gosh. I was watching this one video from my religion class, and it was like for Jesus camp. No. And it was for like evangelical Christians who are the radicals for Christianity. And like they were starting young and then building their way up, and they're thinking everybody who's not Christian is an enemy. And I'm like, how are you teaching these children such false things? And then they go and grow up and raise kids that are just like that because their parents are exactly the same.
Exactly.
It was ridiculous.
It's just crazy how like children, for example, are like brainwashed into things, and they grow up with that, and then they pass it on and everything without even experiencing it.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't know what other people are like. They just assume that they're enemies now because they were taught it. It's ridiculous.
I think social media has kind of taken that to a whole nother aspect. Do I agree with it? No. But does it affect me on how I feel about a culture? No, because I try to growing up in a multicultural area, and like just like you guys going to school with a multicultural school, I think that kind of opens your horizons. That it doesn't matter what culture or what race you are, as long as you're a good person, you're a good person. And so if somebody is never around those multicultures, then it probably would influence the way that they might feel about a Muslim or a person of color, or but my my view on that, it's if they're a good person inside, then that's the way it should be.
Yeah. What about, remember when I think we were at Paula's and they were talking about the North Carolina student with the teacher sneezed or something, and then the students were like, "Oh, you must be allergic to something," and then the student.
Yeah, I totally don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong, and I think that's when people need to open up their eyes.
Yeah, especially if they move up here. Like if they.
Well,
like,
I don't think up here is as bad as down south.
No, I know, but I'm saying, but like, it's a change of culture up here in a way compared to what they've been seeing down there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, I think a lot of that has to do with social media blowing things up into proportion. Or what they do now in social media is they'll take that little tiny snippet that shows somebody doing something really bad, but they don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that influences people's decision making.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this election is probably the easiest thing to go with. People watch what happens, and they are allowed to make an informed decision and opinion upon themselves of who they feel is best, but it at times divides a society and a culture. I think as an American culture, you look to traditions mixed with new revolutions and new understandings of how the world works. But in today's society and culture of what we're witnessing on television, there's no real evolution. There's no change in what we're seeing. We're still stuck in the, past of what America was, which affects everyone's life. And the fact that, you could watch something and make an informed decision for yourself, but if you're not getting all the facts, you're not making an informed decision.
Especially with like everything going on down south and everything right now too.
Absolutely.
How the media is like cuts and pastes.
Yeah, and if you can't get the media to provide you with 100% cut and dry facts, and you believe what they're saying, again, you're allowed to make that decision. But should people be making decisions without all the facts? It's up to them. So,
in what ways do you feel as though advertisements and other form of media affect culture?
Just with like a bias of everything that aren't necessarily true. It's just hurting people.
Yeah, definitely. Feels like we're going backwards in times.
Yeah, I know.
Like we fought to get so far now.
Right?
Going backwards.
Yeah, and I was like reading something that even though like gay rights is everything, and like people are allowed to get married for same sex, like it's frowned upon still in some states. Like if it's more acceptable for a female and female couple versus male and male. So I'm just like, it's the same thing. Like
it is the same thing.
Just let people do that.
It's also hard when people are religious and they like, oh no, you can't do that.
I'm just like, times are changing. You gotta move along with it.
Exactly.
Well, like as you see now, it definitely is affecting culture because more so, like what I said with the social media aspect of it, it's making people hate, which is to me very sad to watch. It's
like we're going backwards in time.
Definitely. Like I feel like we're definitely going backwards, and granted, there's this whole Black Lives Matter, this and that, but to me, it's everyone, every life matters, and there's white people who do bad things, there's black people who do bad things. It shouldn't be based on what color you are, but I find that with social media and what's on TV right now is they're blowing it up, and then it makes people
because they know they can also get the money and the viewers off of it.
Right. So it just makes people do things that they that aren't very nice.
Let's talk about the NFL. The NFL, has an issue with domestic violence a couple years ago. They run this emotional domestic violence ad at the Super Bowl, and yet they have beer commercials with half-naked women. So how much are they actually doing to affect their culture, which is American culture? If they're not willing to change what they're asking for, if they're not willing to show people they're willing to change everything, what's the point of advertising about domestic violence?
You can also use like their cheerleaders, for example. Like I know the Dallas cheerleaders are like big and whatever.
The Dallas cheerleaders are a huge thing. They have their own TV show. The girls are told to look a certain way,
have less than a certain amount of body fat.
And you're willing to go out and spend money to advertise about domestic violence. But what are you doing for domestic violence? You're still allowing your advertisers who pay your brand and your company to put their product out there into the face of American viewers every Sunday, Monday and Thursday now, and allows them to continue promoting a message of this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. And then once a year, at the biggest game of the year, you can say it's not okay. 364 days a year, last time I checked, was larger than one. So what you do the other 364 days kind of doesn't help cover up what you did for one. So
it's almost like they're like saying this is what society's norms are, this is how it has to be, like, but yet that's not really how American culture is supposed to be.
Exactly. If you want to change it, you be at the forefront. And as a brand that's so popular that could be at the forefront, they've decided to just kind of skip a beat and play along with everyone, so that they don't become a talking point for protests on their product and whatnot.
Has what you have seen on advertisement or other media made you want to change your culture, such as changing tradition?
I don't think so. I think it's made me more aware. of certain cultures, but I don't think it wanted to make me like change it. I'm pretty comfortable with how I'm living right now.
I would say your individual self.
Yeah.
You can only make yourself happy and try not to change for others.
Exactly.
No.
I mean, yeah. You know, there's different things that you see. You talk about the NFL. You know, I myself don't really like drinking alcohol. People do. I'd rather, you know, see those commercials turned away maybe to something else. But, you know, American culture and what society is as of right now is a culture that's still very male dominated, that still appeals to male interests, and you know they don't really, you know, they advertise, a lot of advertisements are geared towards men. You watch beer commercials, out of every 10 beer commercials, 2 of them probably maybe don't have beautiful women in them. But they have, you know, they're making fun of how stupid men are or something.
I love the horse and puppy one.
Yeah, and those are fun, and, you know, they pull at the heartstrings a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're not, you know, they're pushing their product in a way that they feel will get people to buy it, from man to woman, not to child, but you know, to anyone that pertains to like their products. And I think a lot of people look at how a company behaves to base their decisions on what kind of products they're going to buy. I myself, you know, don't really care if a company did something once, and, you know, if I like their product, I'll still buy their product. But I know there's tons of people out there that will get, you know, very passionate behind not using that brand anymore.
Have you ever been asked to take a survey, or have you taken a survey? In what ways has surveys and the data changed the way you go about your life and decide to buy something?
In my what is it, domestic violence and sexual assault class, like one of like the research teams that we have, like they came in and did a research study on like my class on like how much knowledge we have regarding like bystander policy and how many rapes are committed like in this amount of time in this place and stuff like that. I mean, like I thought I was pretty knowledgeable about that, but after that class, like I gained so much from it. But
Good.
Yeah, it was great.
So what about like if you could go to a store, like there's some stores that are like, oh, here's your receipt and there's a survey at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't do those.
Like no matter what, like the thing is at the end, like 10% discount.
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm just like, I'm not coming back for a little while. It's okay.
Yeah. And then by the time you do that, the discount would be expired.
Yeah,
So.
I know.
No. Just buy you today.
What? You just bought me today.
No, I said just buy you today.
Well, like those telemarketers that call, or like at the end of the receipt where it's like, oh, go take this survey for 15% off.
Oh, I might do it if it's a product that I like.
Like
To save a little extra money, yeah. Like, you know, coffee or something.
So all the time. You get emails all the time asking you to take a survey. I actually got a text today to take a survey. As far as surveys go, you know, data can be reliable, but data office surveys shouldn't really be the end-all, be-all. In the company I work for, we have surveys. We incentivize a survey by giving $1 off a product, and allow people to utilize that to get whatever they want. We use that data to retrain our team and to go back and talk to our guests about, you know, what they're seeing, what they need, and whatnot. What we learned in the surveys reporting function was that our corporate office didn't inform us that the number that we see is actually the number of people who checked, like out of a 1 to 5, they checked a 5. So we're seeing, you know, 80%. Oh, 80% is great. And we're thinking overall satisfaction for the company is 80%. Well, it's 80% of people gave us a 5. And that, to me, shows more information than just an 80% overall. An 80%, 5, a 4, 3, whatever configuration you want to get to 80%. When we went and dug into the numbers, it was 80% of people gave us a 5 and 20% of people gave us a 4. Can I get upset? No, it's still a 4 out of 5, and a lot of people don't like giving 5s. They don't like giving a top score.
Because there's always improvement.
There's always improvement. But until we learned what the data meant, I couldn't do anything with the data. I couldn't go to... I was going to my team before and saying, you guys need to get better, you need to get better, you need to get better. When in reality, they were doing what they were supposed to. You start getting to 3-2 territory, you probably got some work to do. But we've now looked at it and realized you can't always take what surveys are with a grain of salt, because our surveys, we had 20 surveys out of 45,000 guests, and really going to listen to half of a 0.5%. It's great information, and they talk to 10 other people who talk to 10 other people, but you can't take it with substance.
Have you ever listened to or watched something specific due to your culture?
No, not really. I mean, like, my parents were, like, the baby boomers, so they always played, like, classic rock and stuff like that in the radio and, like, in the house. So, I grew up with that, but, like, I don't listen to that now. Like, I have my own genre of music, but that's pretty much it. Nothing crazy.
No.
Epic rap battles of history. I mean, something that is so new into what our culture is today, by utilizing rap and rap lyrics to not essentially teach, but just inform kids of who people are. And I think in a society and a culture today where phones and apps and attention spans shorter than squirrels, and just things like that allow people to still learn, but it has become culture. I mean, they have millions of YouTube views. They come out with something new every couple weeks. It's just doing something different than what people are used to.
Okay. How has the cultural form of media influenced your life? How you think, how you go about your day?
Oh, that's a deep question. I think, especially moving to Connecticut from Jersey, just with a style of, like, talking, a style of, like, wearing stuff. Like, my parents call it the Connecticut casual clothes, like the preppy kind of look. Like, now you see in magazines and stuff like that, just in the area, like, that's the kind of look the area gives off. So I think that's changed it a lot.
That's how my hometown is.
Oh, really? Yeah. And, like, I'm not a very preppy person at all, but, like, I mean, I'll dress it sometimes, but, like, when I do, my parents call me out on it because, like, I grew up in a very diverse area, and, like, preppy was not it. So, like, moving here, like, and seeing everybody do that because that's what their norm is, I'm just like, oh, little fish out of water.
It's okay. There are still some of us that don't.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It really depends on the town sometimes.
Yeah, I know, because we got Bridgeport, we got Trumbull, we got Fairfield, we got you. Like, it's all over the place.
It's literally everywhere.
Hasn't really.
I mean, I don't really pay attention to what the media has to say. I think most people can make an informed decision that a lot of what you see in the media is what they want you to see. You still hear local stories about things happening that don't make the media, but you witnessed them, or you heard them from people who witnessed them. And I think that by allowing yourself to look more in depth into these things, you can utilize the media for your benefit, not just for theirs. Because at the end of the day, they're just looking for viewers.
Yeah.
Where you're looking to gain information. So.
Have you ever felt discriminated by something advertised or said or in the store? Did you do anything to bring up the issue?
Like, if I went shopping and, like, somebody said something.
Yeah, or, like, you know how there's, like, boys' clothes, girls' clothes.
Right.
Boys' toys, girls' toys.
The toys thing is a really big thing. I know they're making, like, more gender neutral stuff, but, like, that's very big because I have I have two cousins that are like boy and girl, and they interchange with toys because like that's just the thing. Like it's easier to do, it's cheaper also. And I remember growing up, like my sister and I would have like toy cars and stuff along with dolls. So my parents did that. Like I don't think there's really one. If you like what you like, then you should play with that. Yeah. It shouldn't be like, oh, like a boy wants a kitchen, but they only sell it in pink and purple. They should sell it like if he likes that color, then sure, but like don't get upset if he wants a toy that's a kitchen and it's pink and purple.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's never really bothered me.
No. Okay.
No, and this has to be one of the things that annoys me the most is I understand if something upsets you or if something is discriminatory, you should bring it up and talk about it to someone to make sure it gets taken care of. But there are some things like recently there was the girl at Target who had OCD with the shirt that said obsessive Christmas disorder. I understand OCD is a very difficult thing to live with. But at the end of the day, if you can't laugh and you can't joke at yourself, you can't laugh and you can't joke at anything else. And
I fall at soccer all the time and I laugh at myself.
Exactly. You have to realize that by allowing to laugh at yourself, you can change your aspect and whatnot. But if you feel strongly that you're being discriminated against or whatever like that, you probably should bring it up. But there's a civil way to bring it up that you don't have to act or say derogatory things to the person because most of the time it's not that person. Yeah. You go to a store and you talk to the manager's not the one doing it.
Yeah.
So if you can talk to each other in a civil and calm way, you'll be able to get things done. And I think social media has definitely helped in allowing to see a start of change for a lot of things.
Has any form of media ever influenced what you believe in or go about your day?
Any form of media. I think it's not like influenced, well, a little bit. I don't know.
Like things that you watch, listen to, read about.
Read about definitely. I like the news, so like it keeps me informed about like the certain crimes and what's going on in this country or that country. But I think that's definitely shaped it because I'm a paranoid person just in general, so I like to know what's going on. I think that's the only really thing.
Cool. Well, thanks, Jess.
No problem.
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, not really. I think, you take what you get, what you put in. So if you follow a website religiously, it's going to affect your day. If you don't choose not to watch the media because you don't want to hear about people getting shot, you realize that it's still going on, but you just don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing where people need to realize there's so much media out there. Social media, I'm not a big user of social media. I understand it. I know how to use it. I just don't find it interesting. I don't need to know what you're doing every 12 seconds. I don't need to know that you're cryptically sending a message to an ex or a current or a friend. Like, it's not my business. And people really shouldn't put their business out on social media for everyone to see. So I avoid it. I don't find it necessary. In terms for advertising, though, social media is great.
Yeah.
It's in your hands 24/7. You can set your, if you have a business, you can set it up to get a notification when people come by your company. They can get something sent to them. In that terms, it's great, but media influencing day-to-day life, just try not to let it happen.
Okay. Thank you, Casey.
You're very welcome.
Advertisements and media in general affects everyone's life, whether they realize it or not. The interviews show that advertisement affects the way one may think about a certain topic or other things. People may feel manipulated into buying something based on how something is advertised or if there are sales going on. People may also choose to trust and believe in the information posted on media and advertisement, no matter how real or fake it may seem. Lately, the whole campaign of Black Lives Matter have taken affected people in several states. The problem is that media may only portray and show the bad things that happened while eliminating the rest of the actual story. Unfortunately, people fall into a media trap and begin believing the propaganda. This situation is causing one to feel as though the country is moving backwards in the area of racial discrimination and segregation, as well as in other issues. This is where the cultivation effect theory comes into play. Media and advertisement can have a greater effect on the lives of those who indulge in this frenzy of entertainment. Upon conducting several interviews, information regarding the effect on one's life was revealed. The interviews showed different individual views and perspectives on topics. The interviews can help a person realize what they may not have realized about how advertisement and media may affect their life. This topic matters to those interested in media literacy, and activism because it allows them to see how people perceive what is shown on media and advertisement and how what they perceive affects how they go about their day. The interviews allow those interested in media literacy to analyze how one reacts to advertisement and media. It also allows them to see how advertisement and media affect someone's day-to-day life and decisions. The interviews allow those interested in media to also see how media and advertisement affect someone's life, as well as what they do or do not like to see in the media. The topic is important to those interested in activism because the interview shows the issues with media and the ways it may affect someone's life. The activist can then determine the necessary steps that may be needed to take to change something and achieve a goal. The topics that were discussed during the interviews should matter to citizens because it can help them realize that they should not allow everything they see or hear affect their day-to-day existence. The interviews can prove to people that not everything they see or hear is true. The interviews can also show the ways that things may be culturally perceived. This is where the culture scientific model comes into play. Some people may be affected by the way they perceive things, especially if the advertisement or media include the person's culture in one way or another. People should realize that what they may think about something they see might not always be how others perceive it. People will be able to learn more about this topic through these interviews and through other experiences, knowledge, and opinions. They will be able to decide whether they should change how they allow media and advertisement to affect their life.